So we're going to be talking about email and specifically how to send a professional business email. And so in order for us to get the full understanding of that, we're going to talk about all the different parts of an email. And I'm going to show you how you can make a business signature. And so a business signature is a really important tool because every time you send an email, you want to make sure that everyone has all your contact info. There's nothing more frustrating than when you get an email from a business acquaintance and they don't include their phone number, their desk number, they don't have the name of their company or their title. So it's really important to always have all that information. It's just like when someone were to hand out a business card, it's because they're making sure that somebody has all the contact info that they could potentially ever need. And so just to give you an example, I'm going to quickly go into my account, which is, again, a little bit different than your student email system, but very similar. And so every time I go to make a new email, I've programmed it so that it automatically has all my contact info there, so that you know who it's from, you know my title. I've even made a hyperlink so that it goes directly to the Middlesex website, and I give all my office information, and so you have everything you possibly could need. And so we're going to do that with our student accounts. And so let's talk a little bit about how you navigate this email. Obviously, you've been using it to send an email. You just hit new. You may attach files, which can be from your OneDrive, or you can be pulling them off your computer, wherever you may have saved things. And you've also learned how to throw away or discard your email, and if you click those three buttons, you see that you can save draft, show BCC, show from, and many other kinds of things. Inside your email, you have a formatting toolbar, which allows you to make whatever kind of formatting changes you would like. And of course, if you hit the arrow, there's a lot more things you can do. You can add hyperlinks, all sorts of things. You can also select this button to have the email kind of pulled out and in a separate window as well. All right, so let's talk about the other parts. Over here on the left, we have folders, which you may want to organize your email by. So for instance, if I wanted to add a folder, I just click on that plus sign, and I might make one for CAP 101, so that every time I wanted to organize my email and send it there, I could drag it into that folder. I've already made a CAP 101 folder, so it wouldn't let me make a second one. And so I may drag that over and store things so that I always know where things are. If I want to get back, I just click on that arrow. Sometimes you might have sent an email and you need to forward it to someone. So you would just click on your sent items and you can choose that email that you need to forward, let's say, and then all I'd have to do is go over here, and instead of reply or reply all, I would choose forward, and then I could decide who to send that email to. The nice thing about being on a network, which you are through your MCC account, is that we don't have to actually know the email addresses for any faculty, staff, or other students, because it is stored in our whole MCC system. And so for instance, if I was going to forward this to, let's say, my office mate here in Bedford is Vikram Sharma, and so all I'd have to do is type some of their name and hit search, and then all the people with the name Vikram would show up, and so I would identify him and I would select him, and it automatically inserts him, which is wonderful because then I don't run the risk of actually accidentally typing in the email incorrectly. Okay, so the folders are very useful, and now I'd like us to look up here to the top right. That little icon is actually my account, so I could set everything up for instant messaging if I wanted to do that. I could put an image if I wanted. If you don't know your email address, you can find it right there. The question mark is the help section. So certainly if I'm trying to figure out how to do something, I can type it in here and it'll pull up all the resources that I could look at to learn how to do it. This is our settings, and this is actually where we're going to go in to make an email signature. And I'm going to go ahead down to options. I'm going to unclick that question mark so that moves. And over here on the left, you're going to see all the different things you can do to your email account. You can change the theme if you want. You can change your time zone. We can do things with the mail, which is what we're going to be. We can change things with our calendar, all sorts of things. Right now, we're just going to be focusing on the email signature. So I'm going to go to Layout, and right there, I'll click on Email Signature. And right now, it's just telling me, hey, you made changes to the theme. Do you want to keep them? I'm just going to say discard. So I'm here in the email signature, and two things to notice here. Automatically include my signature on new messages I compose. Well, yep, absolutely. I want to do that. So that, like I showed you in my MCC account, when I pull up an email, it automatically is there. That's what you would like. Automatically include my signatures on messages I forward or reply to. Well, that's your decision. I tend to keep mine unchecked because if you're going back and forth in an email, you've already sent the initial one that has your contact info, so you don't need to include it. It just makes your email space bigger. So the first thing I'm going to do is type my name, because definitely I want my name to be there. And I'm going to bold it so that it stands out a little bit from the rest. And in addition to my name, I'm going to put my major, because this is a student account, so I want to show that I am actively a student. I'm going to say business major. And then I'm going to say Middlesex Community College. And what I'd like to do is hyperlink this. So hyperlink allows it so that when somebody is in front of my email signature, they'll see that it is highlighted in some way. And so when their mouse hovers over it, they'll know that it's an active link that'll take them to a website, or in some cases it can take you to a document depending on how you've set it up. In our case, we are going to open up a new tab. We're going to search for Middlesex Community College so that we can get to the main page. We're going to copy that URL out of the address bar and go back in, and with it selected, with it highlighted, I'm going to click on that arrow to see more options, and the universal sign for hyperlink is that chain looking thing. It happens to be with a globe here, so I'm going to click that, and it's going to say insert the URL, and I will paste in the website, and I will say OK. And so now it looks nice and clean. It doesn't just have, for instance, if I just had the actual website address, it looks much cleaner to do it with words. So we're going to keep it like that. And I'm going to put my phone number. And additionally, I'm going to put my home address. And then I'm going to go back in and I'm going to decide I would like to italicize that. And I think that looks pretty good. So I will save it. And now I'm going to go out of options and I open up a new email. You'll see that my email signature is complete. You just want to make sure that when you're putting in the address information that it is accurate the way you would have to address it if you wanted to receive mail. So making sure to include the comma after the city and using the proper abbreviation. So that's how we make an email signature, and you'll definitely want to do that for all your communications. And so now let's talk about the different parts of the email. So I'm going to actually pop out that window so we can have the whole email here. And so the first thing is the to section, which is obviously the part where the person who's supposed to be receiving it, you would put their email address. When you're writing emails, you might want to wait to do the address part till the end so that you don't accidentally hit send and it sends off before you've completed your email. So that's a good little trick. CC means carbon copy. This comes from the old time days when people actually had a piece of carbon copy, carbon paper that they would write on top of, and it would transfer to the piece of paper below. And basically carbon copy just means it's a courtesy copy. It means that you're sending it to someone who should be in the loop, but isn't necessarily the person that is to take action. The person that's supposed to take action on the email is in the to. So oftentimes in the business world, it's expected that you CC your boss so that they know who you're communicating with about certain situations. There is another one you need to know about, and we're going to find it up here in the 3 dots, and it's called Show BCC. BCC stands for blind carbon copy, meaning whoever's email address is there would actually receive the email, but the person in the to section and the person in the CC section would not know who that address is. The only person that would know who the address is you when you put it into the BCC slot. There would be no other way to ever know that it was there. When writing a business email, it's very, very important to always include a subject. And the subject should be a short and sweet topic of what the whole email is about. This way it makes it easier for people to organize when they receive the email in their inbox. So, in this case, our scenario, we're going to write an email to someone that we met at a job fair, let's say, and I'm interested in learning more about some of the jobs they were talking about. So my subject is going to be job follow-up from job fair. And the person I met, her name was Susan Waddle. So you always want to start with a salutation. It could be dear, it could be hello, it could be good morning, good afternoon, whatever you would like to do. Your salutations kind of help develop your personality, and it all speaks to what your professional brand is, that identity that you're creating for yourself. So just whatever you end up going with, you just want to try to be consistent about what you choose. So dear Susan. And the first thing you always want to make sure to do is to give someone that first sentence so that they can understand who you are, where you're contacting them from. So it's nice to remind someone maybe how you met them. So for instance, in this case, I'm going to say, it was a pleasure to meet you the other day at the Lowell Chamber of Commerce event, and to learn more about your company. So as you can see, I'm just quickly reminding them how we met, how they might know me. This gives them, an understanding of what this email may be about as well. I am interested in openings in your marketing department. So I'm just quickly letting them know what the email is about. And then just please keep me in mind if you are looking to fill entry-level positions. So the meat of the email is very short and sweet, to the point, so that the person knows exactly why I'm contacting them, and I want to finish the email with a nice sort of wrap-up sentence. It's just a nice way to, if you started with a nice sentence, you want to wrap up with a nice sentence. Sorry, that keeps popping up. So in this case, I'll write, oops. And see, I accidentally just started typing over everything. So I'm just going to hit Control Z, which is the shortcut for undo. I'm just going to write a nice wrap-up sentence. So in the meantime, I hope to run into you again. You always want to have an ending sign-off, a courteous sign-off. So I'll say best. That's what I usually write. And then you would still type your name. Even though you have the email signature below, it's just like writing a note still or a business letter. You always want to sign it off. So even though you have this underneath, always still have a courteous sign off and put your name. You can use sincerely, best regards, anything similar. You want to avoid using thank you unless you've actually sort of asked them to do something very specific in your email. Then you can end with a thank you. Some do's and don'ts to remember when you're dealing with an email, and we're just going to go here to kind of look at those, is you want to make sure your email is brief and to the point. So not writing too long of an email that has way too much information, because people don't do well in terms of having a large chunk of information that they need to sort through. If it's that much you have to talk about, you probably should be picking up the phone and giving them a call, because it's going to be more difficult to digest. So be brief and to the point. People have a lot of email to deal with, especially in the business world. You walk into the office in the morning, and by the end of the day, people could have sent up to 500 emails. Who knows? So brief and to the point, people will appreciate. You want to be very clear in your subject line. If you are not using an email address that's provided to you by a business or, for instance, MCC, you want to make sure you have a very professional email address. So it should just be your name, maybe with a couple numbers or something, but nothing like that would be slang or any kind of nickname, anything like that. You don't want to be like big drinker at Gmail. That just, even if you just mean cranberry juice, that just would not go over well in the professional world. Certainly, I would caution as well not to use your birth dates either. So don't put Jill Student 1990, because that will forever be with you, and you don't want everyone knowing your age. Also, there's probably some security issues with that. So just make sure it's a professional email address. Use your name in it, but also if you need to, if your name's already taken, maybe put in a couple letters or numbers or something. Always have a courteous sign off, as I mentioned, and always use an email signature. Be careful to type in all caps. It makes someone feel like you're yelling at them. Also, always remember that correspondence lasts forever. It's electronic. It is saved in the world of the interwebs. So you want to be careful about what you put in an email, and certainly no confidential information. I like to always think that you never put in an email what you wouldn't want published on the front page of the New York Times. So just keep that in mind. Also, when you're dealing with business emails, absolutely no shortcuts, no jargon, no emoticons, and certainly no slang. You want to use proper English, a professional tone. Don't be sarcastic. Of course, you always want to make sure to proofread, reread it a couple times to make sure that it doesn't have any mistakes in it. And you always want to use CC and BCC appropriately, which we will go over right now. So back at our email. So right now, I'm going to be sending this to Susan. She is not in my network, so I have to actually put in her email address. And at this point, Outlook will actually store it, so the next time, once I send it, the next time I type in her name, it'll try to auto put that in. And I'm sending it to her, but I don't need to send it to anyone else, but I also want to receive a copy of the email, so I'm going to actually put my own email address in as well, so that I receive a copy of the email in my inbox, but she won't necessarily know that I sent it to myself, because again, whenever you use the BCC, no one can see that address except if you were the one putting it in. And so if it's ready to go, I will proofread it, looks ready to go, and then I would hit send. If I was going to attach a file, I would just click attach, and again, choose either OneDrive or computer, however I needed to attach my file. But it looks pretty ready to go, and I would just hit send, and off it would go. I do also just want to quickly mention that when you receive emails, if you're going to respond back, let's say this is an email I'm going to respond back to, you want to be careful about choosing reply or reply all. If you receive an email that is sent to many people, so let's say your boss sent out an email to the entire office asking for everyone to send back a suggestion on where the annual holiday party should be held, certainly you just want to hit reply and not reply all, because if you hit reply all, it's going to send it to every single person that was listed on that email, and certainly everybody does not need to know where you're suggesting, and it's actually in the business world considered a big waste of time when people reply all for very small nuggets of information that get put into emails. The only time you want to use reply all is when everyone is having a conversation and you're trying to move that conversation forward, and everybody involved in the email should be on it. Otherwise, just hit reply when it's more than one person. Always, always just reply instead of reply all. So be very careful when you're doing that. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. So you have an activity where you're going to be sending an email. Just make sure that you do your email signature and save it.